Were the Netflix shows 13 Reasons Why and Insatiable trying so hard to be edgy that they became problematic?
I've always felt this darkness inside of me.
That doesn't mean you have a demon.
Hannah wanted it done like this.
How do you know?
I can't tell you that. You have to listen.
Teen dramas have always had to straddle the line between teaching their audience valuable life lessons without being overly preachy or cheesy. Both 13 Reasons Why and Insatiable deal with topics you would expect to see from a teen show. They both deal with bullying, and in 13 Reasons Why, they deal with slut-shaming and suicide, and on Insatiable, they deal with fat-shaming and classism. And this isn't at all unusual for the genre. Teen shows have always dealt with real-life topics with varying degrees of success and also controversies. Each new era of teen television tried to push the envelope further than the era before. Take Pretty Little Liars, for example, which aired from 2010 to 2017. The show relished in its edginess, if not a coherent plot. Showrunner Marlene King directly spoke to this issue, referring to it explicitly in an interview with Deadline. She describes the show's tone as having darkness and edginess. However, ABC Family, now Freeform, had limits for it, stating, "They draw the line at bad behavior without consequences. That is their line. If someone shows bad behavior, it can't go unpunished or unnoticed." Regardless of how you feel about the supposed edginess of Pretty Little Liars, the purpose was always to teach characters a lesson and to learn from bad experiences. So why are Insatiable and 13 Reasons Why so different? Are these shows just trying to push the envelope for the next generation of teen audiences who are more exposed to media than any generation before? 13 Reasons Why released its second season this summer, after the first was met with fairly mixed reviews. The first season has a fairly graphic scene in which Hannah takes her own life, and it was this scene in particular that professionals in the field took issue. Dan Reidenberg, who is the executive director of Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, stated, "The way things are portrayed in the media does have an effect on the way suicides can happen. This is particularly true for young people that are very vulnerable and at risk of suicide. When they're exposed to images that are really graphic, really sensational, and there's nothing balancing out for them, that they can get help and that treatment works and recovery is possible, we see them actually replaying what they've seen." The backlash did change how Netflix aired the show. They included warnings at the beginning of each season, with cast members saying that the show is fictional, but that if you're having these types of issues, it might not be the show for you. Even after more criticism in the second season in which a character is raped and then goes on to attempt a school shooting, the show was renewed for a third season. Netflix's latest teen show, Insatiable, has a completely different tone than 13 Reasons Why, but it has garnered its own controversies as well. The show follows Patty, a girl who is overweight and in high school and only loses weight because her jaw is wired shut after being punched in the mouth. And the show doesn't always hit the mark in how to properly tackle the topic of fat shaming. There was actually a petition to ban the show before it was even released. The organizers of the Change.org petition to cancel the series, Florence Given, stated, "For so long, the narrative has told women and young impressionable girls that in order to be popular, to have friends, to be desirable for the male gaze, and to some extent be a worthy human, that we must be thin." One of the main problems critics had with the show was that actress Debbie Ryan is wearing a fat suit. But the ultimate problem with the show is the notion that the character becomes happy only after losing weight. One of the stars of the show, Alyssa Milano, tweeted that the show is a satire and it's not making fun of people who are overweight. Critics feel that 13 Reasons Why and Insatiable don't deal enough with the aftermath of certain actions. However, when I watch 13 Reasons Why, I feel like the classmates are dealing with the aftermath of Hannah's suicide. And Patty on Insatiable doesn't seem much happier because she's lost weight. She still seems like she's struggling with her identity. But the problem lies primarily in the creative approaches that these shows take. In the past, when shows would deal with heavy topics, the issues addressed would be clear, the trouble acknowledged, and the lesson learned obvious. Like Marlene King said in regards to Pretty Little Liars, the edginess is only acceptable if lessons are learned. But in 13 Reasons Why and Insatiable, the lessons aren't always as clear-cut and aren't as easily overcome. And that's fine, as that's how real life really is. But the issue is in the highly sensational nature of the problem. If the overview of the last 20 years of teen shows teaches us anything, is that teen genres have a responsibility that other genres don't have. The darkness, the shock value, the creative application, they're only acceptable if they're balanced with learning and consequences. And unfortunately, these two shows rely too heavily on the shocking and not enough on the lessons. What do you think? Agree? Disagree? Let us know in the comments.